Let's talk about the enemy. Must be an extremely strong person. They are also very rich. It can be for the little animals. Use chain of blood. In addition to the effects on, then after going through a special preparation. Remove all the impurities inside. Chain sperm. It can be used to cultivate something very good. Can help soul power increase quickly. Even for the love of the legendary spirit master. It's also very effective. Aesthetic IP wearing great man last life. It's probably also made a lot of blood chains here. He's excited to say that. Let's also think about how to make some blood chains. 6 voices say we have a way of watching. 6 adventure instant action galloping. The devil in front of you. They caught a hut. It makes it look dazed. To be partners next door like the shore. And then 6 of them laughed and said, look away. We've managed to attract a lot of them. In the distance came the whole army. They're screaming furiously. Then immediately a glass came. There was a huge explosion that happened in an instant. It's quite effective. I also have to be amazed. Make 6 adventurers laugh high. Just like that, when the demon chains come, eat the explosion of light. Vietnam is also very excited and grinning. At the end of the day, I got some blood. Laughing is so good right now. In thousands of them, we've also found 10. I have the ingredients in my hand. Let's start practicing. He poured chained blood into the smelter. When the blood crystals come in here, they melt away. Immediately pour in more ingredients. And then the red smoke came out. Blood crystals are also made. Take them out and tell them. Each one holds one in his hand. When you practice, you can train your soul. When he received it, he was surprised. The effect is too strong. Soul my power has grown rapidly. 6 adventurers anxiously asked, we're definitely not going to change. The cow said definitely not. Everybody's just moving forward. Just killed the demon chain. In front of them are the rays of light. Suddenly, there were 2 lights in front of me, soared up high. Park Zach turned to ask the photographer. The light flew away. Afraid that's not the village's light. Stop worrying and ask the photographer. What do we do now? The photographer replied, we'll still go there. There's a flock of birds flying in the sky right now. The sounds of the fence. It's rocking the whole sky. 6 eyes to the sky full of wonder. There are birds. He quickly reminded everyone to be careful. Surprise! I have to look in my eyes and see something. Surprisingly, there seems to be something there. The photographer, standing by, also looked at the stupid Theo. I don't know if that's a beer. I just told everyone we went over there to see Sao. 6 people agree. As the photographer moves towards the stela, you immediately feel the pressure. Behind me, the demons are screaming. I was scared and rushed away. He went there seriously. 6 suddenly speak up. Let's go over there and have a look. This kind of pressure we can withstand. But the photographer stopped him. Let's go over there and see if everyone can. Stand here and don't move. Stop worrying and remind yourself carefully. The rain is still falling heavy. The photographer is now standing close to the stela. He looked up and exclaimed, there are 6 types of letters. Fortunately, I read one of them. So read up on those who follow me must respect me. Those who oppose me must die. Life is better than a 10-year-old. Reach the position of the landscape of rock-breaking paint. It's invulnerable. He was stupid to read on. At the age of 10 years old, he has a lot of knowledge. Just swinging one hand back, the water split in half. 16-year-old enlightened Ra secretly loves Lin achieved the transition period. 30 years old, no one can withstand my 3 tricks. I've never tasted the smell of 7 defeats. 40-year-old enlightened God humanitarian start the spirit. Know the future of the past. 50-year-old predicts the disaster ahead of him. Give up the throne of Zhu Du everywhere I leave here. 10 deciding to pass it on to the next life. The surprised photographer asked, why not the great emperor? Before this unenlightened emperor was born, was destined to be an extremely talented person. He is 40 years old. I have realized that God is humane. Know the future of the past. I don't know what the future is. Certainly not the emperor. There's a very close connection. The time without love. Or he's an important clue. It might help us learn some secrets. He left a 10-word resolution. Harry looked down. I saw the line slashing. Because I want to hide the decision. He was upset to say, who has 7 virtues like this? Look, somebody been here before. What are those 10 words? Why would someone erase those 10 words? Thinking about the ruins in the ancient city of Lan, and here, there is something left by the emperor. After all, what is the meaning of the Emperor Ming? Behind all these clues, I'm definitely hiding a secret. It's amazing. What's the secret after all? Take a walk around the stela. Then return to the old position. There seems to be nothing else around. Put your hand on the broken place and feel it. Suddenly, the source of the soul, the power to shine forth the words I am. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Stupid photographer. He often thinks, I can't believe you made this beer. The Ming Emperor soon went beyond the legend to write on this stela. He wrote on it his own vision. Writing under my eyes. If countless lives are lost, countless other beings will be born. Every species of creature, they all struggle to live in the afterlife. But then the ancestral blood, it's burning in our bodies. The photographer thought, however, and then someone deliberately erased the words from the stela. But he could not erase the mind of the great emperor. Above it, he added, foreigners constantly pursue the path. Become a fake power. Where will the end of the road be? He sighed, asking what the religion was. What is the way of life? The way of life. The way of life. Then think again. There are a lot of people who are always looking for it. But I don't know if it's in the heart. Surely the emperor is not in this place. He understood the true meaning of religion. And then he wrote this on his tombstone. For thousands of years, in the history books, there is no place. There is no mention of the existence of the undead. Super Vietnamese this legend. It is not. After not understanding the great Ra that, then he goes somewhere else. I don't want this 6 anymore. He's now speaking out in infinity. Endlessly hydrophobic. Make the photographer amazed. Realize that 10 self-determination, infinity fatherless. Endlessly hydrophobic. It seems like before, I can read this too. I didn't love the letter. We've also achieved a legend before. But we can't understand this sentence. I also think that, I'm sure this is from a master that I so admire left behind. Did not expect that this unenlightened emperor. It was rediscovered as soon as it was completed. I think back to my previous life and this life. Then actually this statement itself. It's like saying, tell me the true meaning of life. Life passes from one life to another. But I still don't really understand the meaning of this sentence. Suddenly, the power is lit up. He can feel the soul. The power and love are getting stronger. In a minute, I've just learned the surface. It's worked like this. At that time, the great intelligence had only achieved legend. That have understood to such an extent. More than the British, of course. I crossed my arms wondering. In a previous life, I didn't meet a talented person. More than people like this. But the world is so vast. There are many places we don't know. These places are just a small corner of this vast world. Or not. The Ming Emperor went to some extremely distant world. His shadow spoke up. We rely on the pandemic method. There will be 5 later. We'll also see 10 self-determination like us. And these people, they are all better than you. Therefore 10 self-determination. They all have their own way of understanding. These 5 will slaughter each other. In the end, there was only one survivor left. This person is untouchable. The remaining 4 to get their explanation. Then compare it to your own understanding. Today is the day I know. Hearing these things horrified the photographer. When he exclaimed, Ra, I am also in the plan of the great unknown. I don't know who the emperor is. Where are the other 4? Are they looking for me too? While in another space. There's also a person standing in front of this beer. To speak up. I can't believe that this city. There's a place like this. This trip was not a waste. He said, whoever follows me must respect me. Those who oppose me will come here. He told me this guy was sick. Infinitely. Infinite water. This makes him ignore people. Then ask what the hell this is. There are 10 letters each. It doesn't contain any magic. This guy is so boring. I didn't even write my name on it. And then he sat down to these 10 words. He pulled out his grinning dagger. If I loved my master, I couldn't understand it. Others don't either. He took a dagger out of the brick and peed me and laughed he he he. The light is also clean. Then he stood up and was silent for a few seconds. He wondered what these 10 words were. Move the scene over here. I suddenly woke up and realized this sign. Someone else came later. Turn your head and look. Then tell me what this owner-lover did. It's all recorded on this ancient stela, and they're all read by us now. I don't know what kind of person this owner is. I can't believe he got here before me. After he wiped out 10 self-determination. There's no memory at all. About these 10 self-determination, the idea of the emperor is really profound. Or this person, he's not one of the 5 heirs. Poisonous photographer back to infinity. Endlessly hydrophobic. Suddenly, the soul of power glowed, something deep in my soul. After we've learned these 10 self-determination, it's in my soul. To give birth to some mystical sprout. What is this thing after all? Then, the photographer uses his image to launch back to his comrades. I asked the photographer, have you discovered anything there so long? I don't know if I discovered something. But we can't piece together these clues. Let's keep looking for the magic stone. When you hear that, agree. 6 excited say okay, then go. Say not. I'm faced with some kind of harmful animal love again. The snow is asking why. Vietnamese proposal. You use the spirit to check the neighborhood. See if there's any other stele. But be careful, don't stop. Nam laughed softly and told me. So he summoned the spirit beast. Then he merged into the spirit and flew away. The detective saw that the South was gone. The photographer's voice says, keep moving forward. Eventually, they reached the foot of the mountain. South Africa is currently reporting to the press. There's nothing around. Looks like this is a village. Photographer replied, just in case, we're going to spoil it first. Vietnam is worried about you alone. Can you come over there, so we don't feel safe? Or just let me go. I'll be back soon. But that, without saying the full sentence, the photographer disappeared, and make all the faces numb. Over here. Birds with glowing crests fly around here. Right now, the photographer also walked towards the lights and realized, then out those lights. It's the light. It comes from the color of these birds. I can't believe this is such a large residential area. There are many lights in the mountains. There's certainly not just one village here. There's probably over 1,000 people here. Suddenly, he was surprised to see the soldiers standing guard here. When observing now, the soldiers are oppressing the people. Make them work non-stop. They talk in Polish and they curse endlessly. A soldier goes out and beats. A miner fell down. It was so barbaric that blood spilled everywhere. Then he calmly said they were all dead. People don't come and pull. They looked at the stones they were digging and realized that this is the primordial of the chain. It's interesting to laugh. Let's go over there and see. Suddenly, he was stunned when it's discovered that there's gas coming. Leave immediately. The angel drew his sword to defend himself. Does he think he's an animal or a person? If you are wondering, you immediately get itchy. When a girl appears in front of you, have pure white wings, holding the sword, who are you? I saw that, and the photographer recognized the silver wings, the eyes, the color 6. This must be the silver medicines of the United Nations. The first generation of medicine. Take the wings of the bird directly into your body. At the same time, there's also a blood relationship. In the world of education, only those of noble descent. They can have wings. When the girl looked up in wonder, then the priest bowed. Hello, your majesty. In my mind, at least she's reached the golden 5 stars. We need to get the sword back quickly. Then the photographer continued, we're just passing by. Accidentally entered this territory. If there is any offense, please forgive me. The girl asked you if you could speak Polish. Where are you from? The photographer thought, Lan Imperial Cell. It's been invaded by demons in the Dark Ages. They must have left here since then. Then he thought, he replied, my ancestors were the Silver House. In that dark age, we didn't stop running. We were finally lucky to escape alive. Until now, I can't believe I accidentally came here. It's amazing to her. Banqui, the family aesthetic. It was also one of the World Alliance. Of the World Bank, there are many marriages between the two countries. It can also be said that there is a blood relationship. She said since our family moved here, we don't have any contact with other nations. He said welcome to the place. I'm going to tell my father tonight. You come with me. The photographer looked at the shadow of the girl's back. That aesthetic, innate father Sao. She's Princess Sao. He thought, and immediately followed the girl. What's your name? And he said, "My name is Lao Trak." The girl who flew away replied, "My name is Red Moon." She thinks all the people in the world are watching. He didn't fool me. Then the photographer asked the Red Moon, "Your Majesty, let me ask, are you the World Bank of Medicine? Are they private?" "No, no." She said, "No, my name is Z. Red Moon in my mind. Look at the family." The photographer thought about her appearance. It's definitely a minor. He was so young and had such a strong soul. Look at the table. But the body is also extremely healthy. Pink Moon reminder. Fortunately, where you come from, it's the domain of our World Bank. There are 30 ethnic groups in this forest. They are all empires. We've been here since the Dark Ages. 5 of them are our enemies. If you fall into their hands, you will die. To the photographer's surprise, that's Ra. In my mind, I can't believe there are so many survivors here. To escape from the Dark Ages. But if we encounter another race, we also have another way to deal with it. Red Moon brought the photographer a big tree. It looks great. He looked at the scene in front of him in wonder. Unexpected on this old tree. There's such a big hole. This is the palace on the tree. Still follow the Red Moon. She said, "Go down the hallway. This is my king's palace." As we go inside, this place is very magnificent. He looked at it and felt that it was a great power. He looked at the pillar in front of him that was shining tortured by 2 soldiers, that the photographer exclaimed, "This hobby is also quite special." The guy who's tied up all over is a scabbard, laced with stripes hidden on the flesh. In front of him was a strange sign. He looked at the 2 soldiers who were fighting. The photographer is full of questions. The Red Moon said coldly, "He's just a mean bastard. His mother is a member of our tribe. But she developed feelings with the people of the Black Dragon, that's the enemy of our clan, and gave birth to him after being discovered by us, until his mother, pursued by us to the end. She killed herself by the hand, and then leave this bastard behind. The funniest thing is before you die, she prayed to us. Please let him go. I don't know what the sky is. Since then, we've all tormented him. Let him live and not die." The Kier is now glaring. To look with a cold will. The photographer sees that aesthetic handicraft between families. I don't know how wrong it is, but treat him so cruelly. It's also so inhuman. He has black wings. There is more blood of the Black Dragon family. Like that, certainly much stronger than the people of the Silver. His body is extremely healthy. He was tortured all day. It's just leaking some blood. No sores at all. If these 2 families are married, I wouldn't have been forced to come here. The photographer right now was led by the Red Moon into the Great Hall. In front of him are 2 sexy girls, sitting massage for Boss Fat Giant. He is closing his eyes to enjoy. He is not the owner of the bank. When the photographer came to him, he opened his eyes. The photographer secretly claimed that the legendary fake power. However, his breath looked very weak. I'm afraid there aren't many days left. You just have to use something to extend your life. Slowly open your eyes and ask, who is this Red Moon? The Red Moon began the ceremony. This person's name is Lao Trak, is the descendant of the World Bank. Unfortunately, he got lost here. I don't translate surprise when you hear about the World Bank. Suddenly he laughed. The World Bank was soon destroyed. It's a period of dynastic love. How can there be any more descendants? Who are you after all? You are a spy for the family that sent you here. Red Moon looked at the photographer. But he said calmly, Master, I am indeed the descendant of the World Bank. However, the family is almost no more. But there are 2 lucky tribes left. Private opinion does not translate, still distort the information to say vague. Get him out of the carpet. He immediately glared at the soldier next to him. Then said the chief, if you don't listen to me at all, if you have condemned me to death, I will not obey you. He said coldly, your son has a big liver. If you don't speak clearly and honestly, don't blame me for not being polite. Photographer explains first name. I'm not the one here. I came here from the outside world. Maybe this proves it too. Speaking of which, he left the house with a picture of his beloved. It doesn't make you stupid to think. I have never seen the spirit. A normal pet can hold up to 700 years in his soul. He really did bring it from the outside. But he asked seriously, even if this spirit of yours is to bring it in from outside, but that can't be proven either. You're not of other families. Sent to the photographer. Look what I said. I can't prove I'm clean. But this great patriarch, I know a great secret of the banking family. The money bird, on the shoulders of every member of the medicinal clan, they all have different reactions. The wings will get heavier with the increase of age. All the people in the bank's family. No one can live beyond 60. I don't know if that's true. Not surprisingly, he asked, after all, you are a boy. Do you understand what you're talking about? The photographer calmly replied that I said, I am the descendant of the Silverwee family. About this, it's also because my senior can hear it. I know that. Once I say this, I won't be able to go anymore. But if I say that, I have a way of dealing with that. I don't know what the mayor will think. He contemptuously thinks this is ridiculous. This disease of our World Bank 01. AI can be cured. The photographer is not sure. My family's silver. They're constantly looking for a solution. I've actually found a way to solve it. But it's just a shame we couldn't make it in time to inform the family medicine bank as the dark ages are approaching. Wild animals all over the place. The rest of the world has been almost destroyed. But the cure, it is passed on to future generations. Just waiting to meet the people of the World Bank. Then pass it on to them. Like that, we can do the will of the previous generation. Private not ask if that was the case. Then why you don't want to pass on the healing armor? Let me go. The mayor said that we still have some. The one who wants to pass it on to you. But the priest treated me that way. We also have to think about our own safety. I hope the mayor understands. Red Moon stood by and panicked. Private does not strictly protect the face. It's very clever to talk. You think that? If you say that, I will believe you. The photographer calmly explained. I know that the mayor doesn't believe me. But we have a way to prove it. But the prescription is a little complicated. I will give you a medicine. It can temporarily delay physical pain. Non-religious people can use a little. Test its effectiveness. Speaking of which, he took out the sky. Then said, I'm sure the chief doesn't know this herb. This type is completely non-toxic. The photographer threw the grass up for him. Don't move quickly, grab your hand. Then I realized that I was thinking, but there is no heaven here. But from the book, Herbs by the Tribe, we pass it on, then we can see it. The photographer continues to hit the psyche. If we look at the face of the 4 non-patriarchs, we have, I guess Ra is the body of the patriarch. We've reached a period of extreme exhaustion. Even though you have the 6th generation, it doesn't help. It's dead. It just turns into a skeleton. The picture doesn't take a few seconds, full of doubt without a word. Meanwhile, the photographer was very confident. He ordered his followers, hurry up and cook some medicine. After a while, the redhead brought him a cup of medicine. He picked it up and drank all the medicine immediately. And then his face changed. It made Red Moon very nervous to call out to Father. She quickly took the sword and told the photographer, and said that if there's anything wrong with my father, I'll have you buried with him. Suddenly, Private does not translate voice. Red Moon, please stop. He sneezed loudly and said, you already have the medicine. Why don't you give it to me, so you don't have to get in trouble like this? The doctor replied, if I give you the medicine now, you're going to let me go. Why am I not the child you think I am? Private does not translate a spicy comment. Heard you say boy. If you don't cooperate, there are many ways for you to speak. Laughing furiously, ha ha ha. If you have bad intentions, I'm not afraid to change the prescription. I can't help but laugh, ha ha ha. My grandson is so brave. I will only test your heart a little. You are a descendant of the Silver House. I am very satisfied. When I heard these words, I laughed. Don't laugh at me like I'm not a bad person. Our world is studying medicine. It's not for the World Bank or SAO if it can be cured. Even if I lose my life, I will be content. Then she threw the bag of medicine. He took the bag. Then raise your hands and tell him he's my good nephew. From now on, the World Bank is my home. Photographer clasped hands to thank you. In the heart of aesthetics, this type of poison is not poisonous, but it's mutated. Private does not translate. I want to throw a party to treat you well. Make sure of my money. Quiet thoughts stop hope and others. It's still outside. If you wait too long, you will be in danger. So the regent said, we have to get down the mountain because my friends are still waiting. He said they were down at Sao Mountain. If you're your friend, you're my friend. I will send someone to pick them up. But the photographer raised his hand and refused. Better let me go. If your father's people conflict with them, why? He was quick to reply. Let Red Moon go with you. In my heart does not translate my thoughts. With the power of the Red Moon, it's completely possible to control the first. Meanwhile, and my friends have just played CHS. Just waiting for him. You're finally back. Why have you been gone so long? We're still trying to find you there. The photographer replied after we went up the mountain. Not expected. I once again found a position as an uncle of the World Bank. The Red Moon speaks. Your language is no different from ours. It's what photographers explained before the Dark Ages. The World Bank and our World Bank. The two countries have a very close relationship. Stupid, but thinking about the sound of the star. Since when did you change your family? You have to hide your identity. He immediately looked at the sign. Then turn your eyes to the south guards. That alludes to Chu Trong Tuan. The snow is silent. Make Red Moon glanced it full of exploration. The 6 are as indifferent as cows in hats. It made the Red Moon look at me in wonder. It makes the photographer nervous. 6 funny kids ask this girl who she is. If you have teeth like this, you have a lot of power. Snow sounds that way. Look at the Red Moon full of anger. Now, let me remind you a little less. This is the billion. 6 adventurers scratching their heads, laughing wistfully, hi, so afraid. What is the name of a billion? Just finished eating a punch. Clown in the middle of Korea striker. Pepper Snow hot blood clasped the collar full of tigers. Red Moon said, let's go. At this moment, the photographer blinked and signaled to his comrades. The whole group understands what it means to cooperate. Move the scene above the 10 palaces. I am not happy to say you are good. I wish you a drink. The photographer replied that we are still children. I would rather drink tea. Make him laugh, he said. Of course, you're good. My guest is the guest. In the domain of the World Bank. Everyone must remember that. If it wants to go anywhere, no one can stop it. If it requires anything, you must follow it. When others heard that, they began to talk. What kind of god is he? Why is the owner so important? I can't speak to the photographer's friends right now. You guys are all good friends of Lori. So be as comfortable as you are at home. You don't have to be a customer. It makes you sweat all the time. The whole group gave thanks to the chief. She turned to see the dog full of stress. Hurry up and don't be afraid. Now next to them. The black wing is still tied to the pole, but was savagely whipped. Stop looking at him and ask who he is. The photographer replied that he was a member of the Silver Bank family. That is, he told the story of, let's stop the children. She said suddenly with pity, his father has passed away. It's pitiful that the body is always tormented. Photographer exclaimed, it's a sacrifice of hatred between 2 families. The Lord said, Father, I want you. I was not surprised to ask, what do you want that person to do? Photographer replied, I know this man is a thorn in your father's eye. Is the traitor of the Ying Ding clan. She always wanted to get rid of him as soon as possible. But the uncle tied him to a pole. He's constantly using ROI to whip him. Just because he's trying to warn other people. I've actually thought of a better way. He is now full of wonder, drinking a glass of wine. Then ask seriously what the way is. She laughed and said to try the medicine. I know how to cure my father's disease. But the medicine you have in your hands is limited. If anything goes wrong during the treatment, I can't take it either. Let him try the medicine. I think this is his last contribution. For the family bank. I don't move my face for a second. Look at the photographer. It's okay to agree. Then let him help my good nephew to try the medicine. In his heart, he thought that the VI of the dragon boat was not high. All of his friends are here. I'm sure he wouldn't dare play a game. The photographer continued, there is one more thing I would like to ask you, Father. It's in the domain of the World Bank. There's a lot of blood chains. Can I have some? Private does not translate casually replied. It's just blood chains. It's full if you want, take it. If within 2 months, I can't get a prescription. But it's not over yet. I was told by the mayor. Of course not.